Hello everybody and welcome to today's tier list, which will be on the Pokemon types. Before we get going, I'm going to have to put in a disclaimer that I haven't played any of the Pokemon games past Black and White 2, so after that I don't know any of the Pokemon barely, and yeah, so my opinion will only be based from the first games up into Black and White 2, but I have played all of the games from, Red and Yellow to Black and White 2. I played them an awful lot when I was younger, and yeah, I've got some good memories of it. I'm not going to be ranking them on like how strong they are or anything, the types. I've never been like a competitive battler or anything. I've just, played through the games for fun and, collected the Pokemon. So yeah, I'm going to just rank them, tell you if I like them or not, probably tell you a few Pokemon I like that are that type, and then we'll put them in the tier list. So if you might be able to tell from a caveat if I haven't played after Black and White 2, I know basically nothing about Fairy type. I know they made like Clefable Fairy type, and there's a Fairy evolution now, but I haven't played the games with Fairy type in, so I'm going to have to put it in F tier, just due to not knowing about it. I don't know any Pokemon really, so unfortunately Fairy's going to have to go in F by default. So, going on to the actual sort of rankings, starting off with Bug. Certainly not my favourite type. It's sort of known to be like, weaker overall as some of the weaker Pokemon. Some of my favourite Bug Pokemon probably like Cypher, Scizor are nice. Heracross is pretty good. Yeah, but I'm not exactly dying to get a Bug Pokemon in my team, when I'm doing a playthrough. I think I'll put it in E tier. Then we have Dark type. I do quite like Dark type, a lot of the Dark type Pokemon look pretty cool. I think maybe Absol was probably my favourite Dark type Pokemon. Off the top of my head, Absol. Tyranitar's Dark, I think I like Tyranitar, but yeah, I think Absol's my favourite. I do like Dark type. Houndoom's another good one. I feel like, I do like a Dark type Pokemon. I think I'll put it B tier, I do like them, but not my favourite. Then we have Dragon, sort of the strongest type, which is why they made Fairy to counter it. I know that much, but I haven't really played with the Fairy in, so I'm used to Dragon being sort of the strongest with not many counters. Some Dragon Pokemon I like Dragonite, the classic. What other dragons are good? Salamence is cool. Hydreigon in Black and White, that were good, the three-headed one. Yeah, I think Dragon, it's a bit, everyone wants a Dragon in the team, don't they, so sort of a bit over popular as such, maybe brings it down a little bit, but they're still good. I'd say A tier for now. Then we have Electric type, like the face of the franchise, Pikachu's Electric type. Decent type. Favourite electric Pokemon, Ampharos is good. Zapdos from the original games. Remember, catching that when I was young on the original ones and just using that all the time. Got some varied Pokemon as well, It's not my favourite type though overall. I feel like it has some standouts, but then a lot of them are just not great ones. I think it's pretty middling. A C tier seems reasonable for me. Then we have Fighting type. Decent again, sort of more, they're not really using abilities much, just hitting people and stuff, physical moveset. Favourite Fighting type Pokemon. Hitmonchan, you can teach him all the elemental punches back in the day. I like doing that. Other Fighting type Pokemon I like. Hariyama, big fat guy, quite fun. I think Fighting's, again, sort of middle of the road for me. Say C tier. Fire, another sort of favoured type again. I think probably a lot of people's favourite type, like Charizard, the second most famous Pokemon probably after Pikachu. Everyone likes Charizard. Favourite fire Pokemon for me is probably Blaziken or Darmanitan. They're both good. Fire Arcanine's good as well. Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of good fire Pokemon, to be honest. I think, yeah, it's definitely deserving A tier for me. And we have flying Pokemon up next. You got your classic first route birds, that you catch early on and keep in your team for most of the time, like your Pidgey, your Tailor, all that stuff. All the other ones that I can't think of at the top of my head at the moment. But, that type of thing. That's, the 3 evolutions, levels up easy. Favourite flying type Pokemon? I do like Pidgeot. Pidgeot's good. The legendary birds from the first lot of games are all part flying. Good. I think flying's a pretty boring though, innit? They're all just sort of birds. They're not the most. It's not the most interesting type. I mean, there probably is some that aren't birds, but they are large majority birds. I'd say D tier. Not the most interesting type, but it's alright. So we have Ghost type. I think Ghost has probably my favourite individual Pokemon with Gengar. I do like that, Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar. I think all that line's good. Doesn't have the most Pokemon, at least in the earlier games. It gets a lot more later on. But yeah, I do really like Gengar. Other Ghost types like Miss Magius is alright. The Chandelier in Black and White, that were quite good. Yeah, I think Ghost for me is probably S tier. I feel like it's quality over quantity is Ghost type. So yeah, I'll put it S. I think it's my favourite, mainly because of Gengar and Ghastly and Haunter. That just the entire line's carrying it, to be honest. But I do like it. They have Grass. One of the starters you can pick is Grass. You get a Grass, Fire, Water starter. Pick which you want. Grass is usually the least common one, but I do tend to quite like the Grass starters. I think Bulbasaur, Venusaur, they're both great. I really like Torterra from Diamond, is that, I think? Like Diamond and Pearl? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're good grass types. I'd say grass for me is, it's a solid B tier, it's above average. Ground type. Sort of a lot of ground type Pokemon, tend to be paired with like rock type. Ground type Pokemon I like Donphan. I like Donphan, the elephant. That's a good one. Yeah, nothing else really sticking out other than Donphan, to be honest. Groudon, but it's a legendary, a bit overpowered, but it is cool. Back in there. Yeah, I think Donphan's my favourite ground type Pokemon, but ground overall, yeah, I'm not too excited about it. I'm not really wanting to get a ground type Pokemon in my team, But, it's alright. I think D. Next up, we have Ice tier. Ice type. Another one I like, not that many of them again, I think, sort of not having as many makes them a bit better in general. Ice type Pokemon I like. I like Glalie. Glalie's good, like the floating head thing. The Wolverine line's all good, just, big seals, interesting. I'd like the Articuno, from the original. I like all the birds, but Articuno's good. Like the freeze, when you play your mates, you get a lucky freeze, is always, nice. That's Ice type thing. Yeah, I do like Ice type as well. I think Ice type's A tier for me. Big fan. Was like the way to counter Dragon back in the day. Like pretty much the only thing you could do against it was Ice. So you always had to sort of have an Ice type in your team to do Elite Four when I was younger. So yeah, I do like Ice type. Normal type. Yeah, it's just it's the normal Pokemon. It's sort of standard things. Favourite normal type is almost definitely Snorlax, actually. I do like Snorlax. But, yeah, I don't feel like anyone's I feel like there's nowhere normal can go other than C, is it? It's normal type. No one's really excited to have a normal type, but it gets the job done. It's just normal type, innit? Fits nicely in C, you know, normal. Yeah. Poison type. Yeah, also probably not my favourite. Although Gengar is part poison, but you know, you think of him as a ghost. It sort of falls in with like a lot of the bugs are sort of bug and poison, I think, aren't they? You know, not great. Poison types like Muck from the earlier games, Wheezing, things like that. Sort of associated with Team Rocket, I guess, which when you're younger you like tend to dislike them because you know they're the bad guys. Yeah, I must say I'm not the biggest fan. I think that can also go in E tier. Psychic type. I remember in the first game, Psychic type were like overpowered. Like you just get an Alakazam and just destroy everything. It were like really good back then. I remember just like it was being overpowered back in like the really early days of Pokemon, but obviously that's been changed since then. It's a lot more balanced now. Favourite Psychic types are probably Alakazam, you know, like Mew and Mewtwo. You know, the legendaries from like the first games. Always have fond memories of the older ones probably. Hypno's good. So yeah, I think Psychic type, it's pretty good still. I'd say B tier for me. Rock type, quite often paired with ground as I mentioned. Again, sort of like, you know, you've got all the rock based Pokemon, you know, like your Golem, your Graveler, stuff like that. Favourite is probably what's favourite rock type? Probo Pass actually. I quite like, you know, Probo Pass, like it's just a big head, it's got a cool moustache. That's pretty different for Pokemon. Interesting. Yeah, but not the most interesting. I feel like it just fits nicely alongside ground, you know, they sort of go together. Yeah. Then we have Steel type. Quite a strong type, I feel like. You know, wasn't in from the start, but doesn't have that many Pokemon that I know, because, you know, I don't know the later ones. Favourite Steel types are Metagross, Scizor again, although I think he's more bug, but he's still Steel. Steelix is, I don't even like Steelix, I don't know if I mentioned Steelix, I just thought he is a Steel Pokemon, but yeah, bit poor. Steel is, yeah, it's not my favourite again, but it's alright. I'd say it's just middling, you know. Like Metagross is cool, but you know, not too many of them that I can think of, so yeah, C tier. Water type, very common type. You basically have to have a water type in your team, you know, you need to surf about, which is, you know, when you're younger, getting surf always a necessary thing to get through the story. Probably one of the most common Pokemon, I guess, water. I mean, I definitely don't know, but it feels like there's an awful lot of water Pokemon. You know, all the fish Pokemon will be water, everything you catch in the waters, and you've got like the fishing rods as well, so there's going to be a lot of water Pokemon. Favourite water Pokemon are probably Vaporeon. I really like Vaporeon. Blastoise always cool back in the day, first game starter. Yeah, Wailord. I like Wailord just because, you know, it was massive. Always interested. I feel like water for me is, yeah, it's one of like the main three as well, you know, your fire, grass, water that you start with. I feel like water's a B tier. Yeah, I'm happy with that tier list, to be honest, you know. Fairies in F just due to lack of knowledge. And then, yeah, I feel like Ghost is my favourite. I like all them. All them are, yeah, above average. That's just like they're there, they're alright. So yeah, this is sort of, yeah, bit poor, but they still exist, you need them. You especially fly to fly about. Bug and Poison is like, yeah, probably avoid really. If you've watched this far, thank you very much. Leave any suggestions for tier lists in the comments below. Let me know what you think about Pokemon types. I mean, especially if you've played the newer games. I don't know how what's changed. There might be some really good like Poison and Bug Pokemon in the new ones or whatever. And like, I know nothing about Fairy types, so let me know what I should have changed, what I've overranked, underrated, overrated. Yeah, so if you've watched this far, I hope you've enjoyed, and goodbye.